Welcome students. In the wastewater management we are seeing about the treatment methods. Okay, so we already saw the preliminary treatment method, primary treatment method, what are the advanced treatment method including adsorption, reverse osmosis, ion exchange, ultrafiltration, freezing and elutriation. And now we will be seeing in this class we will see the removal of iron and manganese and removal of color and order, right? So this is the most that is the wastewater, iron, manganese are most aware, that is present there. Also the most of the wastewater you can see that it will have some order and color. So these are the that is the significant things that is there present in the wastewater, and we will see how we are going to remove it. So iron and manganese are anesthetic parameters causing unwanted precipitation and colors. So these are the main thing that causes the anesthetic parameter, that is anesthetic means when we look it won't be have, it has different colors, orders will be there. So we have, it is also going for unwanted precipitation, so we have to remove this one. Iron removal is based on the precipitation of dissolved iron, this is Fe2 plus into oxidized form, that is Fe3 plus, that is FeOH thrice or Fe2 whole, ferric oxide, ferric hydroxide. Okay. So mostly iron is present in the wastewater in the form of ferrous, and this ferrous will be oxidized and it will be converted to ferric oxide or it will be converted to ferric hydroxide and it will precipitate, and then we will be removing. Either by removing or we will be going in for the filtration process. So it is a physiochemical way we can remove the iron oxidation process by allowing the air to flow through the wastewater. When air is flowing, air is having oxygen, so oxidized work will take place, and by which this process will be, this is ferric oxide or ferrous hydroxide, ferric hydroxide will be formed, which can be easily removed. So this is the main principle, and for this what are the methods that is available that we will see first. Okay, so here I can say first method is the adding of air. First method is adding of air. So here the influent or the wastewater that is entered here. Here I have a blower. In the blower I am adding air, right? So in the blower I have adding air into it. Okay. So air is added with the influent. So water plus air is taken, wastewater plus air is taken here, and it is taken for the different bed. So already this oxidation has taken place. Because air is added to the wastewater, oxidation takes place. So when it comes this here, this zone, oxidation zone. So ferrous is considered, ferrous is converted to ferric oxide and ferric hydroxide. So this is the oxidation zone. So after this oxidation we have the filtration zone. Filtration zone has two things, one is the sand layer, the next one it is the gravel layer. So when water is moving through the sand and gravel, that ferric oxide and ferric hydroxide will be removed and the filtered water or the treated water will be taken for the, either it will be discharged or it will be, can be used for other purpose. So the next one we will go, this water and air again it will be given for the backwashing. So by which the particles that are that is there in the filtrate particles in the sand and gravel will be easily removed. So the first one it is the oxidation and sand filtration. This is the first method, oxidation and sand filtration. So the next one it is the oxidation and sand filtration plus MnO2 filter. Okay, so here you can see in this part we will have a MnO2 filter. Okay, so what is happening, this manganese will also get can be easily removed by this method, right? So it is manganese dioxide filter will be there. So for higher iron content or for manganese, this method will be very useful. So if even the particles which cannot be removed by the filtration will be taken care by MnO2 and the treated water will be taken out. The third thing is the oxidation plus green sand. So green sand are nothing but the microorganism sands, like that of the trickling filters and other things. So more efficient sand filtration, but record KMnO for regeneration. So iron or oxide, manganese and ions are allowed. So it will go for the KMnO for regeneration. The fourth one is the oxidation plus the limestone contactor. So the limestone, how it is formed means they will be going for this that is acidic water with low redox potential. The limestone contactor increasing aggressive water pH by binding CO2. So when CO2 is added, that is limestone is added, the pH value will be increasing to the alkaline solution. So it can be aggressively. So that if the wastewater is having acidic property, then this method will be much more useful, by which it is converted to a alkaline by binding the CO2 one. The next one, it is the fourth one. The next one, it is the ion exchange process. Already we saw what is the ion exchange process, right? When cation or anion, it will be absorbed and it can be used. That is ion exchange process. Oxidation can be carried out by various chemicals. So actually these are the 5 processes. Okay. For all these things, the main thing is the oxidation process. So the oxidation process is that it is done by air or done by other materials adding. But the main formation is ferrous is converted to ferric oxide or it is converted to ferric hydroxide, which can be removed by the filtration process. Okay, so here the next one, it is the main most important thing is the ion exchange process, where the different ions, OH minus ions and O3 are added to it, where it perform this process. Okay, oxidation process. So oxidation can be carried out various chemicals. What are the chemicals that is added for the oxidation process to take place? Other chemicals like chlorine, ozone is O3, but it is mostly done by the compressed air. So as we told, a blower, the blower will be giving a compressed air. Complex bound iron and manganese, example complex bound humic acids can be very difficult to remove. In this oxidation zone can be a solution. So if there is a iron complex bound of iron and manganese are there, then what is there, we have to go in for the O3. Otherwise we can go in for the compressed air. So the next one, iron removal plants. Iron removal plants can be based on different filtration media. I told you now, once is sand, gravel and MnO2 filtration media. Any media can be used for removal of this iron plant. That is in different industries, different plants, they will be removing this iron by this filtration process. So what is this iron and manganese mainly removed? It is the oxygen level and the CO2 content and hardness of the water. These are the 3 things that mainly depend, right? So the iron and manganese concentration, what is the oxygen level present in the wastewater, how much oxygen it has absorbed from the compressed air, and also what is the CO2 content that is present, and what is the hardness of the water. All these things depends upon the iron removal and also manganese removal. Plant principle, first air is injected in order to oxidize the iron. The oxidized iron will then precipitate on sand filter. An MnO2 layer in the sand bed will catalyze the oxidation of residual iron. Backwash will be done by the water and by air. We already saw this. Okay. So air is sent and here it will be going for the different filter media. MnO2 filter will be there. Then the treated water will be taken. The next one, it is a filtration media and choices. So the next one, sand plus MnO2 for higher iron concentration. So in that, what is the filter media that we are going to use? Either we will use only sand or we use sand, that is green sand, or for effective, more effective, that is higher amount of iron and manganese are there, then we go for sand and manganese filtration. Okay, calcite for acidic water, berm, green sand, and what are other chemicals apart from the CO2 and O2, chlorine? What are the other things that we are adding is the chlorine dioxide. Okay, these are the things that we can add for the oxidation process. Okay, so what typical de-ioning plants include feedback pump, that is pressure for inputting the water, giving oxygen. Then for backwasher we need a pump. valve fitting, air compressor, air blower and control panel. So the next one we see about the removal of manganese. For manganese removal, only manganese dioxide is used as an adsorbent according to the following reaction. So here what will happen? Manganese will be acting manganese dioxide and it will form 2 MnO, right? So manganese oxide are absorbed on MnO2 grains, and when all MnO2 has been consumed, it can be regenerated by sodium hypochlorite. So this will be formed, this is a solid substance which can be easily filtered and precipitated and can be removed. In this case what will happen, once the MnO2 everything is absorbed, again we will be adding this sodium hypochlorite and we will be retaining this MnO2. So it is a very familiar process. So manganese removal by physical chemical way, that is the main thing is sand and aeration and sand filtration. Blower air is added to it, added to the wastewater which is having iron and manganese, then it is going for an oxidation process. After the oxidation takes place, it is removed by the filtration, that is sand filtration, gravel, and if necessary we go for one layer of MnO2 filter. Okay, the same process. The only difference is in the reagent used. Only difference is in the reagent used. Oxidation by oxygen is in many cases, but sufficient manganese at neutral pH. So strong oxidants can be used for complements such as chlorine dioxide, chlorine, potassium permanganate or ozone. So ordinary air will not effectively remove manganese. That is the only difference. The process is same, the method is same. Only difference is the oxidation. That is the oxidants what we are using. So here we have to go for chlorine dioxide or chlorine or potassium permanganate, or we have to go for O3, that is the ozone. Next we can go for the removal of iron and manganese by the biological removal process. So the biological removal process is that we are using this biological treatments. What is that? Nitrogen removal, right? So similar methods can be used. There are bacteria which take their energy from the oxidation of manganese, which require water with specific conditions, obtain optimal activity of microorganisms. So the iron and the manganese specific bacteria need different environmental conditions. So this biological removal will effectively remove this one. So the next we will see about the removal of color and odor. So what is, as I told, we have seen already, iron and manganese are another main parameters that is there in the wastewater which inputs color and odor to the wastewater. So color results from the absorption of visible light energy by chemical bonds in the substances dissolved in the wastewater. Okay, so the color is mainly because of the reflection of the light energy that we all know, right? So dye and dye intermediates manufacture textile dyeing, pulp, that is textile dyeing units, pulp paper mills, organic chemical manufacturer generate wastewater with color. They have non-biodegradable compounds, hence cannot be treated with biological treatment methods. So what are the treatment technology that is adopted for the color? So the 5 systems are there. First system is sorption system, resin separation, ion exchange and iron activated alumina and activated carbon process. Already we have seen in detail about these processes, ion exchange, activated carbon process. Precipitation system, coagulation with trivalent metal salts or coagulation with the salts and filtration, lime, poly, electrolytes, all these things comes under the precipitation systems, which will react with the particles that is causing the color, and it will get precipitated, leaving the colorless water, wastewater at the top, which can be removed. The membrane system, so the membrane system, it is reverse osmosis and the ultrafiltration, which we have already seen detail in this unit. So this two process will help in the membrane system. Next, the oxidation system, adding of oxygen and going in for the filtration. That is the effective way of removing the color, as we saw, because iron and manganese are the main particles that are necessary for the color formation. Ozone, chlorine, hydrogen peroxide, UV, IR radiation. Innovation system, land applications, that is leaving the colored water into the land. So barren land, it will go and it will be as it gets filtered throughout the bottom layer, it will get removed. So the next one, it is an activated carbon system. Many industrial waste, certain refractory organics which are difficult or impossible to remove by conventional biological treatment process. These materials and color causing organics in paper, pulp, dye and textile dye are removed by absorption of active solid surface. Mainly by the absorption process we will be removing this process, removing the colors. Okay, so we have seen about the activated carbon absorption process. We have already seen in detail in the last class. What are the other treatment methods are used for the removal of color? Precipitation and coagulation treatment. Coagulants are added by which the particles form into a bigger size and it gets precipitated at the bottom, and it can be settlement or sedimentation can be done, or precipitation that can be easily removed. Next one, it is reverse osmosis, that is by the membrane system. Ultrafiltration also by the semi-membrane system. Oxidation by adding the ozone, and reduction system, chemical reducing agents like sodium thiothionate, formaldehyde, sulfonic acid, sodium borohydrate, stannous chloride, sodium formaldehyde, sulfur cyclate are used for the reduction system. And the innovative system, land application, lignin is converted to insoluble calcium nitrate, because in dye that is the main thing. Lignin is the main there is particles present which causes color, and it can be retained by the soil and leaving the clear water to flow through it. So next one we will be seeing about the removal of odor. Compounds responsible, what are the compounds that are mainly responsible for the odor is the volatile organic compounds that are mainly responsible for the odor, and inorganic compounds are also responsible, but these inorganic compounds which are evaporated at a very certain temperature. Okay. So volatile odor producing compounds are also generated in chemical manufacturing, most in the chemical manufacturing, distilleries, then food industries, then breweries. All these things we have this odor causing compounds. Why it is very essential that we have to remove the odor is that most of the odor causing compounds will have toxic compounds, right? So which are not good for the human health. So it will give you a repulsive and irritating feeling when inhaled and presence. Even we can go in for the unconscious mind. Offensive odors are complained people before they receive any damage therefrom and are often linked to air pollution. Compounds responsible for odor, right? So we already saw this. These are the main components, and it can be removed, or deodorization technologies are greater importance. Either it can be removed completely, or it can be allowed to flow, that is disposed into the atmosphere. So these are the examples for the organic and inorganic compounds that are creating the odor. Hydrogen sulfide, that will be giving you a very egg rotten smell. Other things are okay. Sulfur dioxide, all sulfur materials, ammonia will give you some egg rotten smell. And mercaptans, amines, pyridine, xylene, toluene, benzene, hydrocarbons, fatty acids, indole, methyl ketones and aldehydes and esters are causing the odor in the wastewater. So how it can be removed? Okay. So the first one is that collection of air contaminated from the sources is almost impossible. Hence the treatment is very rare, that it cannot be possible in all the cases. First one, it is the wet scrubbing process with water or water having chemicals to oxidize the odor causing substance. So when we are adding water having some chemicals are added, it will dissolve and it will oxidize the odor causing components, by which odor can be minimized. Next one, it is absorption, that is we have already seen that is effective method to remove the color and odor. Ozonation, adding the O3, so by which the oxidation process can be carried out, and the thermal oxidation method. So water scrubbing or wastewater or gas transfer the pollutants from one media into the other, and scrubber water requires treatment for oxidizing the odor causing compounds. Chemical scrubbing using hypochlorite, chlorine or permanganate will leave high residues in scrubber liquor which require further treatment before disposal. Absorption requires less space and can be effective for treating concentrated and poorly biodegradable pollutant gases. And next one, it is a carbon absorption, that is the activated carbon process, requires regeneration to maintain absorption capacity. The process is best suited to remove toxic pollutants from waste gases streams. Toxic causing odors can be removed. Thermal and catalytic incinerators are suitable for off-gas from industrial sources with high concentration of flammable pollutants. Fuel costs will be high for dilute emissions. Incinerations are preferable when the pollutants are poorly biodegradable and are highly odorous. In this case, we go for the thermal, that is heating, and it will be reacted with the catalytic, and it will be heated so that the odor will be removed. The biofiltration is the most attractive among the available process, and it removes 90 to 95% of the odor for the volatile organic pollutants. It is a process in which waste gases are purified by passing through a biological active porous medium, and it offers a number of advantages in treating wastewater gases with concentrators, volatile organic pollutants. So a soil process including microorganisms in soil, packed column process based on porous carriers allowing microorganisms to propagate, active sludge or suspended growth process in which the wastewater comes in contact with microorganisms. The suspended mass in water and other ingredients are decomposed by microbes. So these are the advantages of the packed column, where we have activated carbon, that is high deodorization capacity, that is highly it can remove the odor, simple and compact design, easy operation and low running cost, it is economical. The solid materials packed in the column to propagate microorganisms are mainly derived from peat, compost and wood chips. These are used for removing the odor. The materials to be used in the column should have high surface area for development of active biolayer and for absorption of the pollutants to be removed. The packed solid media provide the nutrient source, pH buffering and matrix for the attachment of the microorganisms. So the packed solids will be there for, that is the packed solids may be peat, compost or wood chips, which will be there for 2 to 3 years. After that we can go in for the replacement or we can go in for the removal. The relative biodegradability of individual compounds are present in different phase. The gas streams are given below. So here you can see, these are the inorganic, these are the organic, these are the hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, which are causing very rapid odor and can be removed. And this organic, it is alcohols, methanol, butanol, esters, then amines, then OH, that is aromatic hydrocarbons, phenols, that is benzene, ketones, everything. These are the biodegradability materials which will causing odor, which can be removed by these processes. So by this I am completing the second unit. In the second unit we saw the treatment methods. We saw preliminary method, primary method, secondary methods and tertiary methods in detail, and we saw how to remove the iron, manganese and color and odor from the wastewater. Thank you.